My name is Brent Hawkins. I'm the new superintendent for Copperas Cove ISD. My first exposure to public school was I drove a 1971 GMC school bus with 4 in the floor, a shift handle to let kids on and off the bus with no GPS and no radio system. So that was, bus was the same age as I was. I started out as a poor kid in rural East Texas, raised up on my grandpa's farm. My mom was a single parent, worked 3 jobs, and so a whole lot of everything that I do comes from either a basketball court or the farm itself. And education has been a transformation for me as an educator. My passion is to transform lives. I've got as much energy and much passion today to believe in public education as I ever have, because it made me into who I am today. There were people on those basketball courts in that ag shop that mentored me along the way and made a difference in my life, and that's what I'm trying to give back.
Morning.
There was an ag teacher, and his name was Joe Belk. And Joe, Mr. Belk, he taught my dad. My dad was in the military. He was in the Navy. And Grandpa, he taught my grandpa. My grandpa was in the Army, he fought in Guadalcanal in World War II. And he taught both of my uncles. And so, you know, agriculture really formed our whole life. When I say I grew up on a farm, if we didn't raise it, we didn't eat. Just that kid that walked into that classroom thinking that he was going to learn something about cattle, swine, poultry, or horticulture, wound up learning a whole lot more about leadership. And that leadership bond between me and Mr. Belk is what I say made me more of the person I am today, made me more prepared for the job I have today than probably anything that I learned anywhere else. You know, the average tenure of a superintendent is 2.5 years. It's a short-term job, but we also know that it's also a long-term job if you want to get any benefit from it, because it takes about 5 years to make any sustainable change in a school system. And so I was lucky enough to be the longest tenured superintendent in the history of my former district. That's something I'm very proud of, because none of the accomplishments that we made, we could have made if I was one of those people who were constantly looking for the next job. And so once we hit that milestone, I did a lot of prayer and reflection on that job. Yes, I'm 2 years beyond retirement, and just started asking God, hey, what is it that you have in store for me next? And at the end of the day, one day there was something that happened, and I turned and got on my computer and I started looking at the updates on Texas ISD, and it was Dr. Burns' retirement announcement. And both Dr. Burns and Miss Manning had a narrative in there about his retirement. And I read that narrative and I printed it off. I took it home to my wife and I said, hey, this sounds like something that I'm interested in. Sounds like something that would be a good fit for us. So we started praying about it. We prayed through the weekend about it. And God just kind of convicted me that there's something new. And you know, as you look throughout the Bible, there was always kind of a period where God kind of pushed you out of your comfort zone. And so, you know, there's not pine trees, there's a whole lot more wind, but the people's still the same, and the mission is more important than it's ever been, and that's to transform the lives of the kids we serve.
Met him last night. Yeah.
We're living in the day of choice. The governor talks about choice. I talk about choice from a different aspect. I believe in the power of public education, and I believe that no one has proven that they can educate kids better than public education. Are we perfect? No. Are we right all the time? No. When we look at this notion of choice, and we know that our legislature is fixing to turn education probably upside down in the state of Texas, What I believe in choice is this. I believe that we offer students the choice of that climate and environment that I talked about in order to transform them into being more successful once they leave here. The Copperas Cove brand has to be worth a little more than anybody else's. And so to do that, we've got to do a better job of preparing them. And we know 75% of our district has no aptitude to go to college. That's not what they want. We have to get kids in the pathway of crafts, skills, and trades. And we also have to have a revival of what that is. Because you work with your hands, that's not a lesser job. If districts don't move to structure more customer service friendly, those districts will atrophy away. I really believe in this notion of choice, and whether it be at the high school, obviously I believe 100% of our students can be enrolled in a college class, whether it's an academic class or a CTE class. But I left 4-year-olds today, and the University of Texas, there's a saying they have there that's what starts here changes the world. And on that campus, that's what I believe. What starts there changes the world. So you can't just have choice in the secondary schools. Choice has to back all the way down into our 4-year-olds and our 3-year-olds. With that said, what does that look like? I think that's something that as a community that we've got to take a painting that's blank, and we've got to do that together and paint it together. What does it look like? So many times school systems fail because people want to create or recreate the school that they went to school in. I think that's a drastic mistake, because what we have to do is look 50 years down the line, 25 years down the line, 10 years down the line, and say, where are we going and what kind of school system do we need to create for these 4-year-olds so that when they get out of high school, that they will have their rails greased for them in life. I'm not a person that is just passing through. I could have left my former district many times, and I didn't. I stayed because of the belief that I had to get that district to another level. I bring that same commitment here. And so I want them to see the commitment that I have to their children, first of all. I want them to see that I operate from a very accessible mode. I think that they'll see somebody that operates very open, transparent, and communicative, because at the end of the day, our school district belongs to this community. The students, the staff, the buildings itself is all a reflection of this district. And then the other thing, I think we win and lose with people. And so when you got great people, you have an opportunity to do great things.
Good morning.
What you see is kind of what you get. I'm not a person that you generally have to wonder where you stand with. I'm a very genuine person. Just from who I am as an individual, I do not believe that this is a job. I really even go beyond the career. I think the job that I have is a calling, and I'm very deeply committed to students of all backgrounds. I do have a burning desire for those kids who experience cycles of poverty from a generational standpoint, to break those cycles of poverty. And so, I think people need to know how sincere that I am about that, and how dedicated that I am as a person. Since I've been here, I've been walking about 6,000 steps a day, plus a large amount of meetings. We're talking, traditionally I work probably somewhere in the average of 70 hours a week. So I do have a high work ethic, but I do not, I know how blessed I am to be in this position. Back home, I had some family members that worked in local industry. They worked in a plant. They made good money, and they had good careers and good lives. That was never for me. I think the education field is a higher calling, and I'm very dedicated to it. And the moment that it becomes a job is the moment that I need to let somebody else do it. The oldest kiddo of mine, she's a fighting Texas A&M Aggie. She has taught for me the last 3 years in my former district. She has her first year out of college, she coached and enjoyed that a whole lot. But then she kind of migrated over to where her degree is, and she's an ag science teacher. And that's what she's currently doing today, and I'm very proud of that. But I'm also proud of I've got another kiddo that lives in the Panhandle of Florida. And my middle kiddo was accepted in Texas A&M University, and she got accepted and then decided that she wanted to get married. And so she is an airman's wife, and she is a mama as well, and she is doing education classes as well. So at some point there will be 2 out of the 3 Hawkins sisters that will be educators, and we're still holding out hope for the baby. This is truly our home. This is where we put down our anchor. You know, this isn't something that we're going to every weekend be somewhere else. This isn't temporary. You know, we've put down roots here, and you know, we just appreciate all of the kindness that the staff has shown, the community itself has shown, and I think that's what makes Copperas Cove special, is that it is a very welcoming community.